Welcome to a new round of SDH AM. John here, you there. Thanks for dropping by. Hair's kind of under control this morning, so there's hope. There is absolute hope this morning when it comes to the hair. So, thanks for dropping by this morning. Sorry about 9:06. I was trying to load some stuff for the morning. Here's the rundown for today. It is we're going to take a tour of training camps in both Major League Soccer and in the NWSL. We're going to stop in Dallas after their doubleheader with Brøndby yesterday. And we're going to take a peek there. We're going to take a look at what's going on at Inter Miami. Messi and friends have a gathering this morning. We'll see if the sound involving Dane St. Clair gets turned. They are meeting right now as we speak. NWSL, we're going to stop in Houston. We're going to see what's going on with the Dash. We're going to listen to Fabrice Gautreau and Jane Campbell. And then tonight, it is USWNT in Santa Barbara, with a look at what Emma Hayes has to say going into the matchup tonight against Chile. That's going to be on TNT and BR and all those other things. So wasting no time this morning. Wasting no time. Yeah, I know. And Ricky, I thank you for being the intrepid producer and eagle eye that you always are. So I guess first time in a long time that we got to do this. For Atlanta United, it is an opportunity for Adrian Gill. And there have been the discussions over the last week or so. He was heading this way. He's in camp. He's in South Florida, all the things. It is now officially official as of 9 o'clock, so 8 minutes ago. Atlanta United announces signed midfielder Adrian Gill from FC Barcelona to a contract through 27 option years through 29-30, pending the receipt of his international transfer certificate. Quoting Chris Henderson, paraphrasing, Adrian is a young midfielder with U.S. youth national team experience whose development path led him to one of the top academies in the world at Barcelona. Pleased to welcome him to the club and add more competition to our group of midfielders. Born in Denver, youth international for the U.S., moved to Spain as a child, first joined UE Cornelia in 2017, went to Barca's Academy 2018, went through La Masia, signed his first deal with the club in 22, played with the U19 side in Barca B in 24-25, signed a contract extension in the club with 25 before returning to Cornelia on loan. He's represented the U17 team here in the U.S. 10 times between 22 and 23, including 7 appearances at the 23 CONCACAF U17s, 2 assists, and it helped advance the U.S. to the final. So 5'10", and he comes in as a supplemental designee. So he is in between spots 21 and 30. So born in Denver, Adrian Gill now in through June of 27, option years through 29-30, and that is officially today, pending the receipt of the ITC and the all the other paperwork. So right now, the roster as it stands. In net, Jaden Hibbert, Lucas Hoyos. We talked about that position group discussion yesterday. Defenders, and this is how they are listed. It's just how the team lists them. Amador Baracol, Chong Kui, Edwards, Ronald Hernandez, Stian Gregerson, Thomas Jakob, and AME High, Caden Moore. And remember, once again, Baracol is on loan through the end of the fiscal year, June 30th. And Caden Moore is now on loan through the calendar year with Philadelphia Union. Midfield, Almiron Alzate, Jay Fortune, Adrian Gill, Saba, Alexi, Tristan, Santi Pita, Will Riley, Cooper Sanchez, Aiden Torres. And then your forwards, Luke Brennan, Ashton Gordon, Latelot, Jamal, and Cayman Togashi. Remember, Ashton Gordon is on loan for the calendar year with Chattanooga FC. So that's where the roster is right now. It is 27, but remember that Caden Moore is out on loan and Ashton Gordon is out on loan. So you're at 25 right now on the roster as they are in training camp. And remember, once again, Atlanta United, Lexington SC, Friday, and that is going to be at atlutd.com/live. And Mike and Jason will have the call for that one there. So that's the rundown of the newsy news, at least involving Atlanta United. off the top. So that is the run there. And so Gill is officially announced. And so now it's an opportunity for him to come back to the United States, get some reps. And let's take a peek really quickly, just at the moments or the minutes that Adrian Gill has under his belt. So let's see if we can check it really quickly. Transfer marked with our friends there, and check the numbers and the minutes. And primarily listed as a central midfielder. He has played right back in the past, and listed at Cornelia. And also, if you want to follow on social media, he's on the Insta, so you can catch up with him there. And I think we'll do exactly that. So now we are following Adrian Gill, who's got over 28,600 followers on Insta. And so that is also, and he has posted that full screen on his Instagram page as well. So keep an eye out for Adrian Gill. Follow on the Insta and follow appropriately. So checking minutes, it was loans to Cornelia from Barca. Barca loans him back at June 30. So let's take a peek at the stats for all seasons and see if there are any. And with the Barca B, no official matches. So it looks like the matches have been with the national team. So no matches listed in transfer marked with his time in the Barca Academy. So Segunda Federación Grupo 3, and no minutes there for Barca. So it's an opportunity for Adrian Gill to get minutes, get experience. And so I would imagine that his reps are going to be with the twos to start out. And obviously, when you're in training camp, you get to show the coaches and the front office about the faith that they have given in you. So now it'll be intriguing to see how Adrian Gill integrates and what it's going to be like for him, as he is now a part of Atlanta United as a 20-year-old, born January 30th. He had his 20th birthday 24 days ago. So he comes in as a supplemental, and he's been spending time with Barcelona's academy, loaned out to Cornelia, but now he is a part of Atlanta United. So Adrian Gill now a part of the stacks for Atlanta United. And yes, the Paul Tenorio news that came out this morning, where the USL, and that'll play into Kaylor Hodges when he drops in just a little bit. The new first division league for the USL has a name. No real surprise to it. USL is going to be USL Premier, the first division league that's set to launch in 28. And that's going to be Championship League One. So Premier, Championship, League One. That's what it's going to look like. And the idea is to get 20 in USL Premier and 20 in Championship. Morning, Alex. So then does that mean that, well, I mean, you're going to have more than 20 in USL League One coming up in short order. I think there are 5 or 6 in the queue. Same for the USL Championship. So 20 in USL Championship, and that might create we do. We had to catch up with Kaylor last night, but it is at the end of our discussion where we do talk about what's going on with the CBA and where things stand. So we do have a bit of a discussion with that toward the end of our discussion when Kaylor Hodges comes in to visit. We do look at movers and shakers and rosters and things, and we do discuss the CBA at the tail end of the conversation. So yes, it is in there. But to mention that, to get into the numbers right now, just for the numbers of the clubs and who might be wanting in. So right now, coming into this season, you've got 18 in USL League One. You've got 4 in the queue: Fort Lauderdale, Port St. Lucie, who named their sporting director the other day. Rodeo Soccer Club, that is the new incarnation of Texoma, and they're going to play in Salina, Texas in a couple of years, and then Sporting Cascades. So you have right now 22 online, 18 playing, 4 coming in USL League One. So then you take that, and then we'll compare to the just as an idea, we'll compare to the English Pyramid here in a second. So you've got the clubs that are available right now in USL Championship, and it is 25, and then you have 6 online coming in future years. Dallas, Milwaukee, Reno, Santa Barbara, OKC, and Iowa. So if you're looking at, I don't know which ones of these, of the 31 or of the 22, I don't know how many of these 53 are looking to jump to Premier, first and foremost. So that number, I don't know. But if you're looking for 20 to jump into Premier, that could be outside the current groups. It could be outside the folks that want to jump into the pile right now. You could have folks in Championship and League One that say, yeah, we're going to Premier. Or you could have new folks just that we don't have on the board saying that, yeah, we're going to Premier, just skipping the line and going all the way up to the top. So that's kind of what to keep an eye on. When it comes to the EFL, just for comparison's sake, when it comes to the number of teams in each division, EFL Championship has, and I don't want tickets to the Carabao Cup final. So in the Championship, they've got 24. In League One, if you click to the table, they have 24. Then in League Two, they've also got 24. So 24 by 3, 72. So 24, 24, and 24, and then 20 in the Premier League. So the numbers are fairly static. The numbers are static when it comes to League Two, League One, Championship, trying to get to the Premier League. If the idea is to get to 20 in Premier and 20 in Championship, does that mean that you're going to that you're hoping that the folks in League One that are north of that number are going to be sliding up anyway? Folks are from Championship are going up to Premier. Folks from League One are going up to Championship. So you end up with 20, 20, and 20. You're looking for 60 as an idea. I'm assuming that this is what they're staring at when it comes to the interconnected professional structure as they have it listed. So Premier is going to operate as a single table, operating as 20, launching in 28. USL Championship with 20. USL League One continue to grow nationally, organizing competition regionally. So, and this is what we've been discussing with Darren Van Tassel for about a decade, where you want those regional rivalries that we've been talking about. And they're developing now with the hubs that you're seeing in USL League One and USL Championship. So regional format, local rivalries, national footprint. So that's what they're staring at. So Tony Scholes is going to join USL Premier as president upon completing the responsibilities in England this summer. He's chief football officer of the Premier League. So Tony Scholes is coming over to be in charge of this growth and this stage for the USL. So they're looking for 20 in the Premier, 20 in the Championship. And my guess is, with everybody going on in USL League One, I'm wondering if you go 24 and keep it there. I don't know, because you're promoting rivalries and such, but what is your number of clubs? Is USL League One just going to kind of be its own thing and have its own structure, but you don't want it to be like 98 teams and just have, two going up and down? That to me is the larger question here. If you're going to have this Premier with 20, Championship with 20, League One with however many, then how many teams are going up and down out of League One, drifting down to League One, et cetera? Is it the 24? Because like I said, right now we're at 18 and they've got 4 online. That gives you 22. Are you only looking for 2 more to get to 24? Just as an example where League One and League Two are. So that is the question that I have. Where is your ceiling with League One, so it's not 90 teams chasing after 2 spots, to where it looks more and more like a, just everybody chasing after something, and if you get there, you get there. So League One for me is the question. Yes, you're promoting the regionalization. Yes, you're promoting what you're looking at in the future for that. But where's your ceiling? Where's your ceiling with League One? How many teams are chasing? So USL's reviewing applications, clubs interested in competing in Premier. They're going to announce the inaugural members at a later date, of course. So That's what you're looking at. League One, or sorry, just USL in general, chasing 20 is their Division I deal, launching in 28. 20 anticipated in the championship, and then League One. Like I said, League One for me is the big question in all of this. You have all of these franchises that are coming online. I'm operating under the assumption that some of them will be jumping to Premier, which would create holes in championship, which would create opportunities for folks in League One should they choose when you start the pyramid and you work in that direction. So that is kind of what we're staring at here. So I have questions. We may try and effort something out of Tampa to discuss this with this announcement. So I know what my homework assignment is once we're done today is to have this discussion about, all right, so 20, and then what? And then have you discussed how many are going up? How many are going down? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it – and the conversations that we have had, and this is kind of evolving into an elongated opening kickoff, where you wonder – you legitimately wonder when it comes to this. And like I said, Darren has come on the show, and he has said that the current owners have signed on to the idea of promotion and relegation. So no one that has walked in the door apparently is shaking their head at the concept of, okay, our team, if our team stinks, despite my level of investment, I'm cool with my team being relegated. You look at these markets, and in addition to USL, Premier, as we now call it. So if you look at you look at these markets and you look at the level of investment, and you've got some owners that are doing some serious investing. A loose city's going to be okay with everything that Lou City and Charleston, they are top class in the East. Pittsburgh, right there with them. Pittsburgh bringing in players. We get into this discussion once again with Kaylor coming up in a bit. So if the wheels fall off in one of those places, they accept the consequences. Okay. You're talking great markets. Lou City, Charleston, Pittsburgh, Hartford, Loudoun. We know about Loudoun. Oliver Gage reinforced Loudoun to us last week when he was on the show. Rhode Island, Detroit City. Detroit City, with everything that they're investing in, they're building a new stadium away from Keyworth, the new facility that is taking over the old abandoned hospital off the freeway. All that investment that they're doing, wheels fall off. They're okay with it. Birmingham's okay with it. The Miami FC is going to be struggling, but is it the last two? Is it the one last place in the Eastern Conference and one last place in the West? Would Birmingham be cool with being relegated? Would Vegas be cool with being relegated? Going down to League One? By all accounts, the owners are in. But you look at the investment in these markets these days. Rhode Island comes online. They've got their own stadium. They've got Tidewater Landing coming online. Indy 11 looking to get a new barn. Tampa looking to try and find out what their future is going to be. Sacramento, we know what Sacramento means to USL Championship. New Mexico United investing in a lot of players. San Antonio, we know what they are, a part of the fabric. Lexington's another example of really investing in your players. Monterey Bay and Vegas, they had issues last year at the bottom of the West. But all of these owners, from all indications, they're cool with this. They're cool with this idea. So that's kind of what we're staring at right here. And so you have all of this, and once again, you got as Rick Ransom, morning Rick. The soccer fed's is officially sanctioned. None of it matters without sanctioning. So let me see. And the idea, now once again, when they got into the adoption of the launch of the league, this is March of last year, when they adopted the notion of promotion and relegation. As defined by the Soccer Fed, sanctioning standards, Division 1, Championship Division 2, League 1, Division 3, interconnected through it all. And so that is your Division 1, but you've got to meet US Federation guidelines to be that Division 1 sanctioning. And hang on just a second. I'm trying to find out what the numbers are. US Soccer back at the time said that the continued investment in the game reflects the strength of the U.S. as a soccer country, only accelerate as we build toward hosting 25, 26, and bid for 31, welcoming innovation to the landscape. But you've got to have X number of teams. You've got to have all of these guidelines that are met, that are set forth by the Soccer Federation. X number of clubs, X number of this, X number of that. So bringing in all of this idea, and until you have folks, standards considered number of teams in the league, market size, owner wealth, stadium capacity, geographic spread. So until the Soccer Federation is satisfied that you have met each of those parameters, you're looking at the whole notion of, are we Division 1? So USL, all right, so let me see, and I'm not finding the term, so hang on just a second. All right, so USL, so I'm trying to refine my search term. So we mentioned the Division 1, Division 1, Division 1. And so right now, I have 0 articles remaining this month. Gee, thanks, Sports Business Journal. Obviously, the questions last year, you got to have a minimum of 12 teams to qualify for D1 sanctioning. 14 teams by your third season. You're gunning for 20. Situated in the Eastern, Central, and Pacific time zones. 3/4 of the teams based in metropolitan areas with a population of 1 million or more. All clubs must play in a venue with a capacity of 15,000 or more. Have an ownership group with a combined net worth of US $70 million. So now that I finally found that out. So here, once again, here it is. Minimum of 12. They're shooting for 20. Get your 12 in the barn first. 14 teams by your third season. Eastern, Central, Pacific time zones. 3/4 of the teams in a metropolitan area with a population of 1 million or more. Clubs have to play in a venue of 15,000 or more. Ownership group combined net worth of 70 million. So capacity 15,000 or more. Let's take a peek at that. Lou City could qualify. They can also expand Lynn family, and they'd be okay. Charleston would have to expand. You'd have to, and this is where I think Dell would come into the picture, and mentioning in conversations in the past, they were looking outside the city limits to try and find, if I could spell capacities, a place where they could expand, perhaps. So once again, going to our friends, and like I said, all the stuff that we were talking about this morning, we get to it, it'll probably just be in shorter form. So stadium capacities. If we go capacity, no, I don't click me out of those things. Okay, so if we go and look at Patriots Point right now is listed at 5. The ones that would qualify in the system right now for that capacity, 15,000 or more. Protective, Pitbull, brought to you by Kia dealership, Lynn family, and Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. Those are the 4 that qualify right now. So that means Legion, the Miami FC, Racing, Lou City, and Roots. New Mexico United right now at the Lab, you could add 1,500 seats, you'd be okay. Cashman, I'm sure you could add. You're at 12.5, you could add, and you'd be okay. Michael Carroll, Indy 11, you were at 12,111, you'd be okay. Hodges, you add 3, they're coming online, they'll be okay. Hard Health in Sacramento at 11.5, you'd be okay. You expand. Centerville Bank with Rhode Island FC, 10.5, I think you could add. Phoenix Rising at the corner of 38th and Washington, it's modular, so I think you could add at 10,000. Southwest University Park at El Paso might be a problem. You're at 9,500, and it's a baseball stadium. Toyota Field at San Antonio, you'd have to double your size or find another place to play. Widener Field, downtown Colorado Springs, it's a great build, but you're at 8,000. 1OK in Tulsa, you'd have to expand, 7,833. Keyworth and Hamtramck, you see why Detroit City is going to where they are and building their new barn. Lex SC, you'd have to double it, but I think that Lex SC has the capacity and the ideas about expanding. You'd have to double your size. Right now you're at 7,500. Brooklyn would have to double in size. Monterey Bay would probably have to find a new barn because they play at University of California, Monterey Bay. Cardinal, you play at 6,000. Hartford, 5,500. You'd have to find another place. Patriots Point, you'd have to build, like we were talking about. Irvine for Orange County, you'd probably have to find a new place, or you'd have to build. And Loudoun, you'd have to build. So of the teams currently in championship right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and Al Lang, you'd probably have to find a new place. 8. Lexington, I think they could find it. 1OK, I think they could find it. 9, 10, 11 of your current franchises. So you're kind of thinking about half of your franchises might have to find new places to play or really build to meet that D1 sanction. So then you go to League One, and you can see, let's see, pro teams by stadium capacity. Let's go ahead and pick here. And like I said, I apologize that this is completely and totally just gone into a Greenville, with their new stadium, 16,000, you'd qualify. Charlotte, downtown, 10.5, you could probably expand. North Jersey, the Cosmos at 10,000 in the baseball stadium. Union Omaha, 9,000. That's a question for Union Omaha and our friend Jamie Henderson. Fort Wayne at 8,400 being built right now. Are you happy where you are? Can you expand? I think I think that you could do so. One Knox at 6,500. You might have to expand again or find a new place to play. Could you imagine them at Neyland? Boise at 6. Have to expand probably. Kickers at 6 at City Stadium. You might have to find a new place to play. P-Hop at 6,000. That's a challenge for them. You can't get a ticket. Now what happens? You get to 15,000. You probably have to build a new place. Avialta and Tormenta at 5,300. Spokane at 5,100. Corpus Christi at 5. Ford Madison at 5. Ford Madison probably would have to find a new place to play. Naples at 5. I think they could expand. Westchester at 3,900. Eugene at 35. Sarasota at 3. Chattanooga at 2,500. So those are the questions going forward for these leagues currently as they stand, especially with capacity. That's just capacity. That's not net worth and ownership groups and things like that. So that's what you're looking at with D1 requirements. We can get into TV markets in a bit on the flip side of this, but I figured this is probably as decent a time as any at opening kickoff. I don't know, Rich, if it renews USL Atlanta. I don't know if it does or not. After that initial push that we had, I don't know if we haven't really heard anything after the initial push. We really haven't. After we had the Roswell pro tem mayor on and had the early discussions about where it would have to be, if you looked inside the city limits, there was like one place where we thought it could be, and you'd have to pull eminent domain, and it's a mall, and you could sit there and go. That's what the one place as we were trying to workshop where USL Atlanta could be in the suburbs. It literally would be in that one location, right off the freeway, and you could just blow out a mall that's not really getting a whole lot of work. Eminent domain, take it over, buy the mall out. Not necessarily eminent domain if you're the city, but if you had someone who wanted to buy that mall space out, create your stadium, make it modular, get it to 15,000. Literally after that initial push, we haven't heard anything because I think it was like an initial window of negotiations and discussion. And then if nothing happened, you just kind of let it go away. I don't know if it resurrects those talks or not. So hang on, let me get to Nielsen markets. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not going to let this go. Nielsen TV market size. Okay, so all right, Nielsen TV market size. List of TV stations by market. Obviously, New York, LA, Chicago, Dallas, Fort Worth, Philadelphia, Houston, Atlanta, DC, Boston, San Jose, San Francisco, Oakland. Tampa, St. Pete. I need to know number of households, too. I can't just have capacities. Okay. Database. Okay, TV homes. TV homes to get you to market 36, which is Greenville, Spartanburg, Asheville, Anderson. You're 13,000 shy of $1 million. And that's probably what a team like Greenville would do. The Triumph probably would go, hey, look, we're the 36 TV market. We're 13,000 shy of $1 million. You know, we're right there. So you're looking at 36 and below for $1 million. Milwaukee's looking to come in. Vegas is already there. They're at number 40 at 896. Jacksonville's at number 41 at 840. So let's see. Birmingham's at 45 at 771. Oklahoma City is 47th at 762.7. Louisville's 49th at 702. Providence is 52nd at 662.810. Fort Myers, Naples, 641, 850 at 53. Richmond at 56, 625, 380. So how many is that in the bottom from 20th down? So technically, Milwaukee wants to come online. Vegas exists. Jacksonville exists. Birmingham exists. Oklahoma City. Albuquerque, 48 at 708, 050. Louisville at 49 is 7. Providence is 8. Richmond is 9. As I'm sitting here and I'm going through, Knoxville is 60th and 10 markets, 584.1. Tulsa, 11, 575, 780. Lexington, 63 at 517, 660. So that's 12. Spokane at 66, 13. Omaha is 14 at 73 at 458.080. Ford Madison is 15 at 443, 220 at number 77. Savannah with Tormenta would be 15, 400,190 at 84. Chattanooga, 16, 391, 370 at 86. El Paso, 89, 17, 385.080. And that's where it's, and that's 17 markets right there. Boise, 1898 at 345, 250. So there's a lot of movement below market 36 in the TV markets. From 36 to about 110. Eugene coming online at 120. So there's a lot of movement. 17 markets in Corpus Christi at 130 at 209, 780. So that's 16 or 17. So 17 markets, literally just staring at. Thanks, Abby. Good to see you. So 17 markets right now below 1 million TV households. I'm sure that they would look at population numbers and TV households, try to come up with some kind of a crossover. So 17 markets right now below 1 million in the USL markets, in USL League One and USL Championship. So you've got to move. If you're looking at USL Premier, you've got to look at markets 1 through 36. That's $1 million or more. That's a lot to look at. 17-year markets below market 36, below $1 million. So that's kind of where we're at. That's what that's where the USL is right now with this announcement today about USL Premier. They're looking for 20. You've got to have 12. You got to have 14 by year number 3. That's what you're looking at with Premier. Championship, they want to have 20. USL League One, I've got questions. I want to know how many you're looking at there. So those are the questions that I have. Yeah, we're going to be knocking on the door down in Tampa to see if we can get somebody to come on and talk about it for the rest of the week. So that's where we are. And technically, that's opening kickoff. 42 minutes, 37 minutes into the show. That's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. We start your day with the most important stories in the game, and the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee is part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy-bodied, notes of walnut and semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee, blackpitchcoffee.com. I guess on that note, let me say hi to everybody, and then we'll go to the interview that we had with Kaylor, looking at the month that was in USL Championship in League One. But like I said, we do have a discussion at the end about the activity going on in the CBA, or depending on which side, the lack of activity. So morning, Abby, morning, David, morning, Ricky, morning, Pars, and morning, Dell, morning, Abby, and let's see, morning, Lokeville. Weather is cold. For the oxymoron, it's cold as ish. It was, I think, 14 in some spots. The second the boss got home last night, we put the cover on the car out in the driveway. So I'm hoping that the car didn't shiver. Yeah, and Rich, we got to keep an eye on the sanctions. So let's see. Abby, MLS scheduled to have talks this summer with the PA, never discussed with about the calendar change. Let's see. Rich and Dell, good morning. Morning, Kefsey. Ricky woke up to a wind chill of 0. Mm-hmm. Yes, that was no bueno. For like the last 3 days, I've literally had faucets running in and all and around the house. I don't want to know what our water bill is going to be. I really don't. So that's just everybody stay warm. Keep an eye on your pets. Keep an eye on your plants if you're so inclined, if you're a plant person. Keep an eye on the flora and the fauna and the furry. And we have the rowdy man just likes his heater. He just likes to sit right in front of his heater, and he's right there. He hasn't moved since the boss came back last night. He's been attached to the boss. He's got to get back to guard duty. This morning, he's in his bed. He's got the heater right in his face. He's a happy man. So that's where the rowdy man is when it comes to all of his stuff. Now, we are getting into Kaylor Hodges, and we're going to let you know what's going on there with Kaylor and the USL Championship, USL League One. There are updates. There are things to get into, and it literally is looking at things from a month gone, and it is a month to do a whole bunch of stuff, and we'll see what Kaylor has in mind here. All right, Kaylor, my first couple of questions are actually home questions for you. So we get to start there in the month that was when it comes to USL Championship in League One. Jay Heaps has decided that he's just going to dust it off. He's just going to dust himself off. He's going to dust off the coaching jacket and just head downstairs himself. What brought this about? Was it just the easiest solution in his mind? What went into this whole process?
Well, for people who don't know, Mark Briggs took an assistant job out at FC Dallas to join Eric Quill, former USL manager down at New Mexico United, and he took that assistant job. And per the press conference that they did, they said that Mark had approached them about doing this application just after Christmas time. And I started kind of hearing that this was happening towards the end of December. So that, tracks pretty well. And he said it wouldn't really give him a lot of time to find a new coach they really feel like can make an impact in preseason But there was kind of a, I don't want to call it a throwaway line, but it was thrown in there, where he said that after Sohn got fired last year and Eric was the interim manager, he said that Jay himself said being on the sidelines and being the assistant to Eric and being the coach, he kind of admits that he was kind of the coach the whole time, that it made him really get the itch to do it again.
Okay.
Part of the reason why he came to Birmingham as the general manager and CEO was because he wanted to be around more for his kids. Well, two of his kids are in college now, and the other one's a freshman in high school. So maybe the impact wouldn't be as harsh anymore.
Mhm.
So I think there's a little bit of, they wouldn't have gotten the coach they truly wanted, although I think there were amazing options available, including one that was in-house in Eric Avila. But I think the other part of it is Jay wanted to. Um, he's still the acting CEO, which is hilarious that he's the CEO and the head coach. But really, the CEO is more, as in his own words, says it's more of the liaison between the front office and technical staff, which makes sense because that he's been doing that job for this whole time. So it seems like it's a fairly seamless transition. And we're going to see how it goes with Heaps being the coach, since he has not done it since he was fired from the New England Revolution.
What do you think those conversations are like? If the CEO sees something that he doesn't like from the head coach, what do you think those conversations are like? I had this vision of like what it was with Peter Vermes when he was master of his own domain and had multiple titles on the business card at Sporting Kansas City. Jay, something's going wrong here. Then he spins around to the other side of the desk. It's like, okay, I know, I'll fix it. Then he goes back and sits back in the chair on the other side of the desk. Okay, you better fix it. He goes back and in one of those kind of conversations. So, uh,
I almost wonder, as funny as that conversation is, like kind of the playing chess by yourself kind of thing.
yes,
As funny as the idea is, I almost wonder if this ends up being more pressure on him from the owners.
hmm,
Because if he doesn't succeed
yeah,
on the field now as the coach, they're going to say, well, how did you do as a CEO before that? And if they find blemishes on that record too, not, I don't know what they are. I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know what the CEO of a USL championship club truly does. And I don't know if he's done a good or bad job. I'll plead ignorance. But if they've seen kind of blemishes on that record, who's to say that they're just not like, okay, so you're doing both poorly right now.
Yeah.
So step down from one, or you'll have to step down from both. I wonder if this puts more pressure on Heaps.
And you also had a couple of moves off the field. Someone who has been a stalwart for Legion for as far back as anyone really can remember is finally hanging it up officially. And you've also brought in someone that a lot of folks here in the Southeast are familiar with to help out at the back. So you've got folks who are retiring and folks that are coming in to help out here in 26.
Season of changes. Matt Van Okel hangs up the gloves and the cleats, but he's been the head goalkeeping coach since the club was founded. It was every USL championship commentator's throwaway line of Matt Van Okel. He's the head goalkeeping coach and he's the head goalkeeper. How about that?
What are
Now
those
he's just
conversations like with Van Okel when he was playing? Matt, you got to stop those. He goes running. Gets between the sticks. I know. I should have gone full extent. He runs back out to runs back out to the penalty spot. Same kind of deal like we're talking about with Jay almost.
Pretty much. And so he hangs it up, and now he's just the head goalkeeping coach, which is great because now it's not just a head goalkeeping coach, which, to what I'm understanding, is that also means he gets to work with the Legion 2 guys. He gets to work with the academy guys, which is great because there's not many clubs in the lower leagues that get a standalone goalkeeping coach for their academy team.
Mhm.
They just get some older goalkeeper to come down or just tell each other to train each other and say good luck. It's a big deal. Bryce Washington comes in, and I'm very fascinated by this move because
Hmm.
there's a lot of moving pieces that come with it.
Hmm.
Because I think a lot of people would say, "Oh, well, he's the Rami Zamuda replacement because Rami's is going off to Werder Bremen
Right.
in May." So a lot of people would say, "Okay, so he's just his replacement. They're going to stick to a back three." But Jay Heaps did not do a back three when he was a coach. Granted, the back three back then wasn't as much of a thing, but I feel like this is Bryce Washington is definitely going to be a center back, but maybe someone like AJ Patterson, who for country in Grenada, he plays the six, he plays CDM. And Legion doesn't have a standalone CDM. They have Sam Mickelhatton, whom I am very high on, but he's more of a box to box midfielder, not a true center defensive mid.
Right.
So I wonder if this sees AJ Patterson go to the midfield and play as a defensive mid. Or are we going to see Jay Heaps evolve with the times and go to a back three, which I think would be very interesting. And if I'm a Legion fan, I'm saying a back three of AJ Patterson, a Bryce Washington, Fanwell Kavita. That's a back three I really like. So even if there are question marks in the goalkeeping department, which right now looks like it's going to be Trevor McMullen, who maybe there's also a goalkeeper in on trial right now, but
Trialist
uh,
keeper. Yes.
he's been named.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes, we have named two of them,
Okay.
but still neither one are entirely um tested
Yeah.
as professionals. Between the two goalkeepers, they have a grand total of 12 professional appearances.
Mm.
So even if you have a goalkeeper who's a little green back there, you have three center backs who are not. So if I'm Legion fan, I am pretty stoked about the addition because this is the first time since maybe Alex Crognale, or if I want to go back even farther, when we kept putting Bolu Akinyode back there, that we had true pace in as a center back. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that transforms this back line a little bit more.
And then up front, once again, you add Ronaldo Damas. It's a part of
Mhm.
the equation as well. So you're getting firepower up top, interesting names at the back, retirements from in net. So the season of the Apple turnover almost, it seems like with Birmingham so far this year. In the last month or so, there have been some very, very interesting transactions that have been a part of things. Malik Foster to Charleston, Laurent Kisiadou, who knows Ben Pierman from their time in Memphis, is now paired back up with him in Charleston. You end up with Jake LaCava heading to New Mexico, Paco Craig to Indy. I'm blowing through all of this lists, and there's a lot. Trevor Ammon to Pittsburgh. That's a part of all of this stuff. Rico Rosarena goes to New Mexico United in net. When you look at some of the other transactions that we've seen here in the month of January, what sticks out to you?
Big one that happened earlier yesterday
Mhm.
was Fabricio Romano gets a second scoop, and it's Pedro Guimares
Okay,
from
Guimaraes, yeah, from
yes,
Orange County.
Orange County is off to Eintracht Frankfurt. So that is the second Bundesliga club that is taking a U.S. youth national team player.
Mhm.
And I think it's really interesting that these are two players that are not exactly between Ramis and Pedro that are not exactly standouts. These are not Cal Jennings or, Philip Goodrums or players who are scoring goals for fun that are getting moves to Bundesliga clubs. They are defenders who are everybody knows what the talent can be, but not quite proven yet. I think it's really interesting that that's the move. I think that one's one that I think a lot of fans need to keep their eye on. Between that, kind of looking around names that I think are a big deal of making the move, I'm looking up at Brooklyn. And I'm looking at Gabriel Alves. I'm looking at JC Obregon, Stojanovic, Jackson Lee going up there. They are building a real core in Brooklyn. And these are known names. Jackson Lee, not as established, but I really rate him as a player that I'm really interested to see how Brooklyn goes because they are building a really nice core in the back, in the front, and some really nice players in the middle along the way. Miguel Berry did not have a long time in San Diego, but when he did, he was a superstar.
Yeah.
And getting a guy like Miguel Berry to go under Pierman, I think is going to be incredible. I was laughing, and I know there's a lot of Charleston fans who are always in the chat. We love our Battery fans.
Yeah.
The sky was falling when Cal Jennings was apparently going to play semi-pro footy over in Japan.
Yeah.
Um, the sky was falling when you see a Zeke Soto, a young player who was up and coming, Nathan DeSantos, Leland Archer, MD Myers, Mark Segbers, Aaron Malloy, Cal Jennings, Rubio Rubin,
Nick
Arturo
Marcanic.
Rodriguez, Nick Marcanic, uh, who's over at Houston now, Juan
Mhm.
David Torres, all these players gone. But you get Sean Suber, you get Malik Foster, Laurent Casiedu, you get Andy Cabrera, Colton Swan, Miguel Berry on top of a stacked team. The sky was falling, but in Bierman would trust. Honestly, it's just always so impressive what they're doing. And then I'm also was really happy with what I'm seeing out of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
With Pittsburgh, you are seeing that they have gotten 2 players. One of them is a return, where they get Albert Dikwa
Mhm.
back, but they also get a Trevor Amon. So they get, what was it 2, 3 years ago, both the Golden Boot winners from both leagues. So that's fun. They get a Elliot Goldthrup, who is a great player. They get Nico Campuzano to replace Eric Dick. And Victor Sousa looks like a guy who can be a nice super replacement. Not only is Pittsburgh replacing the talent they lost, but they're doing something they did not do in the Lilly era, which is spend money, which by all accounts, that was Lilly's choice. He just wanted to get cheap guys and just basically make, I hate using this term, but mentality monsters out of these guys.
System guys, yeah.
But Robbie Vincent does not care. They're going to go out there, spend some money, and they're bringing in firepower, but still replenishing the back line. I'm really impressed with Pittsburgh's offseason.
And for those that may not know, Cal Jennings, who scored 55 goals in the last 3 seasons in USL Championship, he's going to J3, not the J League, but J3. And it took me a second. Ryukyu Okinawa. So it is literally J3 Leagues FC Ryukyu Okinawa. 55 goals last 3 seasons for Cal Jennings, and he's going to the J3 section over in the Far East. So
I mean, I know there was some question marks on like why would you do that, but also if you got paid to live in Japan,
mhm.
no,
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah, no. Another couple that kind of came across the bow a little bit. You're looking at, and I'm going back as far back as I can think here. Noble Okello to Indy. You mentioned Sean Suber. Uh, you've got Tommy McNamara to Brooklyn. PT Rodriguez gets acquired by Rhode Island. You mentioned Juan David Torres. Literally, it is looking to see JC Obregon. We've talked about him in the past
Mhm.
as one of those players that was at Westchester, and you're sitting there and you're going, okay, yeah, this should work, and it didn't because of all the pieces that Westchester kind of tried to put together last year that didn't fit. And you had like the 500-piece jigsaw puzzle, and you had like 14 pieces on the floor when you're looking at Westchester trying to figure out how to build the lighthouse, and it didn't quite work that way last year. Quickly, I started to see you've got Sporting Jacks, who's not afraid to make some signings. They're bringing folks in without any semblance of conscience whatsoever. Yep, we're bringing folks in. We're ready. We're getting ready to go across all of our divisions and all of our different franchises. Kobe Hernandez Foster goes back to Detroit City to go and hang out with Danny Dicchio.
I like that one
Okay.
because Kobe Hernandez Foster, and I know that Maxi Rodriguez had down year last year,
Mhm.
but Kobe Hernandez Foster and Maxi Rodriguez in the same midfield in Detroit just feels like magic waiting to happen. It might be one of the most fun midfield pairings that you're going to get in the USL. Like, I am very excited to watch that happen.
Jameer Johnson, USYNT winger, goes to Orange County. He gets signed there. Tola Shawunmi, who is known by folks here in the Southeast from his time being drafted by Atlanta United. He's coming back to the United States, and he's going to be a part of Lou City's attack this year. Bruno Lapa to Tulsa.
That's a huge one. That one dropped today. Where Tulsa, kind of a quiet offseason considering the fact that they just hosted the final. But, they bring in Tambakis, they bring in Summersall, and then they bring in Bruno Lapa. And I am so fascinated by Alex Tambakis
Mhm.
signing here because, in my humble opinion, and I understand Tambakis is a Atlanta United legend, kind of a
Right.
cult hero
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, he is.
Definitely a cult hero.
Mhm.
But for my money's worth, I'd rather have Johan Peñaranda in net.
Mhm.
But Tambakis, it seems like he left New Mexico because he was going to be goalkeeper 2 to Shakes. There's no way he's leaving to be a GK2 somewhere else,
Right.
which means Peñaranda, it leaves me with 2 questions. Does Sewell and Co. not believe in Peñaranda? I don't know why. I think he's a great goalkeeper. Or is his injury that he got at the end of last year a little bit more serious than we thought? I'm very interested to find out because that one feels like a fascinating spot for him to land. Lapa adding into a Jamie Weber, adding into a Pierre, adding into a Khalil Medkar, a Stefan Lukic as a super sub. They didn't make a lot of moves this offseason. Granted, the season's not done, but
Right.
they didn't make a lot of moves this offseason. They're still my favorites in the West.
Okay. Is there anyone that is concerning to you because of inactivity or players that they have picked up where you and everybody at the USL show is sitting there going, that you have the question mark bubble over your head?
Just loose, just I mean, Birmingham. I'm just going to throw Birmingham in that mix.
Okay.
I, I feel like I can't say anybody else without somebody saying, "Well, you're a Birmingham fan, right?" So before I throw stones at glass houses,
Right.
I have thrown stones at my own glass house, and
There you
now
go.
everybody else's house is fair game to me.
Okay.
So Indy, I don't love.
Okay.
Indy is putting together names that you like, but they are not as good as the ones they lost.
Mhm.
And it feels like this is just a lot of players who can play a lot of positions,
Okay.
and I don't feel like anything's nailed down.
Okay.
And I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know if this is about to be just another season of changing formations, changing styles, changing whatever every 3 matches
Mhm.
just to see what works. Indy has the talent that I like to be a really good team, but I just don't know about the talent and how it works together. Hartford has done very little. They have brought back some key players from their Jägermeister Cup win, but they also haven't really made any other moves. They bring in a Matt Real, they bring in a Barry Kofi. It's fine. It's okay. El Paso remains just an enigma in my brain constantly. I don't know what El Paso, but you lose. I'm looking at Jamali Waite, whom I'm not entirely sure what his season was at the end. It was a little weird, but also it El Paso was a little weird. So is that really his fault? But Rubio Rubin finally goes to El Paso after being rumored to go. Is he the Andy Cabrera replacement? Maybe. I mean, El Paso hosted a USL playoff game or came fifth, one of the two. Maybe this is status quo and they're going to be back to it. I don't know. And then Monterey Bay, I just I don't know. I like the names I see.
Yeah.
I like Nick Ross, Fernando Delgado as a talent, but after seeing him in Birmingham, he is not the safest hands. He's a developing young goalkeeper. He's good with his feet. Everybody in Birmingham says he's the best passer on the team, and they had some good passers, but this is a back line that looks shady at best. The last thing they need is a keeper who is not going to be able to come claim crosses, which he just can't right now. He's just so skinny that he can't fight through bodies the way that another goalkeeper might could, like a Nico Campuzano. I'm concerned about what Monterey Bay is doing. but I at least appreciate that they're putting together decent talent like a Stuart Ritchie and a Wesley Leggett, Eduardo Blancas, Yusso Ndai, but I just don't love it.
One team that I wanted to get your opinion on coming down to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground on Friday to take on Atlanta United in the preseason opener for Atlanta United, Lex SC. And they
Good team.
we caught up with Philip Goodrum, I think 2 weeks ago. And you look at this group that has been assembled here. Ordonez you've got Arturo Ordonez in defense. Your forwards: Marcus Epps, Philip Goodrum, Malik Henry Scott, Tariq Scott, Milo Yosef, Bradilio Rodriguez. Keepers: Logan Ketterer, Oliver Semla, who they pick up from Philadelphia, Brooks Thompson. 3 deep at keeper. Midfield: Aaron Malloy, Nick Firmino, Michael Adedikin,
Luis Felipe.
and Latif Blessing. I'm looking at this and I'm going, are you kidding me with this bunch that has been assembled here this year?
And I'm trying not to get Lexington right now in terms of I've seen how this story has gone,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to fade the fade, if
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is a great team. I'm a little mad at Lexington. I want that to be known because I am a Brooks Thompson's truther.
Mhm.
I think he's a great goalkeeper, and no one gives him a chance.
And
If
he's with Semla
in Ketterer, it is like someone let him just get a run of games. I think he's a great goalkeeper. If he came down to Birmingham, hey, off season, I don't want to call it dusted, but that's the 11. I'm happy with it. Instead, he's stuck behind Oliver Simla. What?
Mhm.
It makes me mad. But in all seriousness, it's a really good team, and this is a team that's played together for a year now with some new pieces being added in. Obviously, Goodrum, Malloy, Ordonez, those are guys that they have made the big headlines on. But you're also looking at a Blessing over on the right-hand side. You're looking at a Mendez. You're looking at a Ferry, who've all played together for a while or for a year now. Same thing with Firmino in the midfield. Luis Felipe obviously makes the move over, but if Firmino gets the start or plays a little bit, he's played with these guys before. This isn't like the last 2 years where it's been we've signed everybody, now go figure it out.
Yeah.
This is a team with chemistry that have supplemented spots to make themselves better.
League One.
I
Go ahead.
think
Yeah, finish up. Go ahead. Yeah.
No. I was just going to say, I think that for Atlanta United fans,
Yeah.
I think that Lexington is going to push them.
Mhm.
I think that Lexington is going to give them a real challenge because these are full on professionals. And depending on how Lexington or how Atlanta treats this one,
Yeah.
this is the first year they haven't done Birmingham. So, but I'm treating them around the same timetable as before when they was based Birmingham. First half would have a lot of starters, second half would have a lot of the kids. If the first half goes 0-0 and the second half Lexington keeps the starters on and they win 3-0, it wouldn't shock me.
Okay.
I don't think Atlanta fans should panic over that because
No.
we've seen this in years past where they throw on the kids for the last half and just see what happens.
Mhm.
But Lexington's going to push this Atlanta United group because this is about as talented of a team that we've ever seen.
Yeah, and I know that Atlanta United fans are looking at Firmino and Goodrum and the return there, and that's
Mhm.
going to be at 1:00 Eastern Time, atlutd.com/live on Friday. League One,
Mhm.
and we're catching up with Greenville Triumph, and they're going to be on Friday's show. And obviously, stuff going on there. New coach, new front office, 1-2 combination there. South Georgia Tormenta has had one of the busier transitional off seasons that I
I
can think
believe in them, man.
of.
I am having to stop myself from saying Tormenta is going to like win the league.
Okay.
I I really believe in this team. I'm also in this part of the offseason where I just think every team's going to win the league, so keep that in mind.
Yes.
But I love Tormenta's roster build.
Okay.
I am I I saw that you guys, and I listened to the interview that you guys did with Boise. I
Mhm.
think Boise's up there as well.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm loving what Tormenta's done. You're looking at a Yana Bazzini, Luca Dorado, just kind of
Sean Lewis in net.
up top. Those Sean Sean Lewis woman in the back. They have Malu going with them. They have Kelly Rosales in the midfield. They have Andrew Booth with him as Mintz over the left hand side. This is a great roster build, like a really good roster build. I am so excited to see what's going on down in Statesboro because at the very least, this is going to be a fun team. And I wouldn't have said that about a Mark McKeever team in the past. They started to attack, they started going forward in the attack, and this team can score a lot of goals. I called my shot last year with Yaniv Bazzini being a dark horse Golden Boot winner, and he turned out to be one of the best strikers in the league. Especially with what's going on behind him in terms of distribution and what can be passed into him with through the wing backs, I might call that same shot again.
Okay. 5 new franchises coming in this season, and yeah, we have been spending a decent amount of time catching up with Nate Miller and looking at the build at AC Boise. We spent some time at Corpus Christi, and looking at all of these new faces that are coming in. Nate has them in camp right now. Boise in Southern California. We caught up with Oliver Gage at Fort Wayne to find out about the build there and their pickup of Javi Armas, which, once again, we know about here in this footprint, about the kind of veteran presence that Javi can bring you. I think you need that for stability in Fort Wayne. I think that'll be interesting. Cosmos, I have no idea. I know that they have the relationship with St. Thomas Aquinas High up there as a part of their academy structure, and I'll put that in quotes. Terzaghi goes to P-Hop, the Portland Hearts of Pine. Sarasota's coming online. The 5 new ones, I want to see. Each one seems to be going at it a bit differently, and I'm intrigued to see how they're coming to the table this year.
Uh, Besides Boise,
Mhm.
whom again, I'm also having to stop myself from saying this is just the best team ever. Again, I'm just really excited for everybody. I'm just excited to get back.
Yep.
I really like Sarasota's build early on. McLaughlin is a great player. Rodriguez, I really like. Chandler O'Dwyer, I really, really like. Waters and Stretch and center backs. Rosa and Valentin over on the left back and right back. I think that's a really, really fun squad who I think is going to make some noise. Fort Wayne, I am really excited for Fort Wayne. Doing the semi-pro USL show, I watched a lot of League Two
Yep.
last year. And I watched them 4 or 5 different times before the playoffs started. And then I watched their 3 playoff games. And they're a very possessive team. They're very attacking, which you don't expect from League Two. Same coach who is going to be playing, kind of his system, this kind of a 4-1-4-1 or 4-3-3 kind of look. And it's going to be very possessive. It's going to be a team that you're going to really enjoy watching. But in the back line, they kind of have it figured out between Diaz, Shipman, and Spro. I love their back line. And Healy, who I believe was at North Carolina State, NC State,
Mhm.
he is the perfect number 10 to run this system. You're going to see a really fun attacking team up in Fort Wayne that I think League One fans are going to be shocked by.
Okay. And obviously, you'll visit us one more time before the season kicks in, first part of March. One final question for you. Where are we when it comes to negotiations in the CBA? Because the Players Association is still posting things that they feel folks need to know about on their social media. Owner side has been fairly quiet about things. Where do we stand? Any movement at all, or are you looking at it as okay? We've still got a month before the season goes on. Teams are going to assemble, and they're just going to worry about it as they get closer and closer and closer. And it's going to be like cramming for a test, and by the deadline, they'll get it done.
So our good friend John Morrissey, USL Tactics, posted a fantastic article yesterday on backhill.com.
Mhm.
And you should just go ahead, pay the $5. I'm a teacher. I can afford it. You can too. But I'm going to kind of take a little bit of this article and let you go read the rest of it.
Okay.
But you mentioned the owners being quiet. This is the first time we've had an owner's front office side kind of speak out, and he kind of talked about it a little bit. It's an unnamed source, of
Okay.
course,
Yeah.
but still, we're kind of seeing that the owner's side are seeing that negotiations are going really well, that they think that they are getting close to a conclusion. They think they're going to be able to get things sorted. The PA does not feel that way. The PA feels like it's pretty far apart. They feel like they're not truly listening. They feel like they are trying to lowball the players. They are giving concessions, but not truly conceding the end point, which is better bottom line standards.
Yeah.
Because it's not about your Goodrums, your Malloys, or anybody like that. It's about your first year players out of college who are trying to make a name.
Right.
So I'm a little concerned as we are getting closer to this. The USLPA, Connor Tobin has said they will not lock out, they will not strike if they continue to negotiate in good faith.
Mhm.
If they feel like negotiations are going in good faith, they'll keep negotiating throughout the season. But if they feel like they're getting screwed over by the owners, then they'll take drastic measures. Now, considering the fact that the two sources that John talked to said, one said that things are going great and the other one said it's dire, I am not loving that kind
Well,
of
is
outlook.
the truth somewhere in the middle then?
Probably, but the difference between dire and great means still not very good. So
Mhm. Dire. Yeah. Dire. Everything's fine. Everything's dire. So that's why I was asking, is it somewhere closer to the
it
middle?
probably is somewhere close to the middle, but even so, when you're looking at the first match being 40 days away, the middle ground between dire and great is still subpar.
Yeah.
How much are they going to be able to get done? I don't know.
All right. Hit the promo for me and let everybody know, since you mentioned where Morrissey is with Backheeled, what's going on with at the USL show.
Hey, we got a new kit out that's being pre-ordered, so check that out. It's our Sasha Champions. If you are a fan of a team that won a star in the last year, you have an area code on a kit, and it's a sash across the front with the color of the league that you won. It's very fun. And if you're a Hartford fan, there is a deer on the back with your area code. So check that out if you want to support us, try to make improvements with the show. And tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to be going live. We're doing a little bit of a Super League preview because the Super League is back this week, and we are so excited for it. And a couple more free agency news.
Okay. Well, now that you mentioned the Super League is back, I need to check on my sources there and get some folks to talk about the Super League as well. Kaylor, my friend, it's always great to see you. You know that if you have to break glass for anything, you know how to get in touch with us. And if we need to have a note written for you to get out of class so you could come on and break news live during the show, you know that we can always do it. It's great to see you, my friend.
Of
We'll
course.
catch up with you tail end of next month, and then we'll talk regular season almost. And there you go. That's Kaylor and the folks. And so hang on just a second. Where is it? Where is it? Show camera. That'll work. There it is. Show camera. You got to hit a button. All right. Kaylor Hodges and the extended conversation that we had there. All right. I have officially reached out to the league office, and we will. We are efforting. We are now officially efforting the response from the league about what happened in hour number one. So, for those that might not have been around in hour number one, as I was trying to chase down a phone number format in Okinawa, Japan, to try to track down Cal Jennings, it is USL Premier. USL Premier is now the name on the clock, and now that is what USL is chasing when it comes to their first division, and they're looking for 20. USL Championship would then be below that. They're looking for 20. USL League One would be below that. We don't know how many. And so that's why we're trying to get some questions answered. Like I said, we've reached out to the league in Tampa, and hopefully we will get some answers from them as to what in the wide world of sports is going on. And we'll find out what the lay of the land is now that they have made this announcement. And we went through in hour number one TV markets, and there's a lot that are below the 1 million number in households. There are instances, and there's a lot to think about. You got to have 12 that reach the okie dokie status for the U.S. Soccer Federation. You got to have 14 by year 3. You got to have 3/4 of your teams in a million or more, and you've got to have them in the Eastern, the Central, and the Pacific time zone. You've also got to what was the other one? So it was capacity 15,000, million markets, percentages, and the stadia, and all those classifications that you've got to hit. So 15,000 in the stadium, Eastern, Central, Pacific time zone. 3/4 of the teams have to be million or more. So market 36 or higher. And then you've got to work your way through that to be officially okey-doked by the U.S. Soccer Federation. So looking for 12. That's what the U.S. Soccer Federation is looking for. You got to have 14 by year 3. USL Premier's looking at 20. And all the owners apparently are cool with it. They're cool with it. So we'll see what happens. And we will see what happens there with USL Premier. And for the life of me, I have been trying to format a phone number for our friends at Ryukyu Okinawa to catch up with Cal Jennings. And I have no earthly idea what they are missing when it comes to phone numbers. So, Hiragana. Okay, please enter in Hiragana or Katana, and it's not a phone number format. So, who knows? All right. So what we may do is we may try and figure out a way to end run this, because the phone numbers that we keep entering don't work. So they keep kicking us out, trying to get an interview with Cal Jennings over in the J League at Ryukyu Okinawa, and it was a free transfer out of contract, and so Cal Jennings is now in J3 with Ryukyu Okinawa. And we're going to try and track him down because he's from here. He's from here in the footprint. So we're going to track that down. All right. Now let's kind of get into the rest of anything and everything that was there, because literally we had a rundown this morning. And as you know, sometimes that rundown gets wadded up into the corner and then thrown away. We do have, obviously, tonight. It is tonight in Santa Barbara, California. It is the second match in the window for the U.S. women's national team, and it is the USWNT taking on Chile. That is at Harder Stadium in Santa Barbara, California. Once again, that's going to be on our friends at TNT, and we'll go over what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it at the tail end of this soundbite. So here is Emma Hayes discussing what was on her mind coming out of match number 1, heading into tonight. How are things going to look? Here's her answer, courtesy of our friends at U.S. Soccer and Veritone.
Well, first of all, there'll be changes to the team, as I mentioned at the beginning. So I'm putting together a whole new lineup, which itself will bring another set of challenges, whether that be first caps, whether that will be inexperience collectively playing together. One thing I have almost agreed to do, knowing where the players are at this stage of the season with their NWSL club, is to not start a player for 2 games in a row. So there will be a complete lineup change. So that will bring a whole set of challenges. But we've earmarked some tactical things regardless of the game. So it will be about implementing those things that they've been working on all week.
Emma Hayes, head coach of the USWNT. Here's your rundown for tonight. Once again, matchup is on TBS tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern time out of Santa Barbara. So this is closing out the January friendlies. Final match before Emma Hayes begins narrowing her player pool ahead of March's She Believes Cup. Competition obviously mounting to get to the World Cup qualifiers in November. Now, Fresh Faces roster is completely NWSL made because they're the ones right now that aren't playing matches. So it's NWSL, except for Gotham. We'll get to Gotham in a second. So managing fitness, second game in 4 days. And so you're looking at 3 January call-ups remaining uncapped. Riley Jackson, Ayu Oke, Jordan Sokowitz looking to make tonight's starting 11. Once again, that is on at 10 o'clock on TBS. And so let's get into what to watch, where to watch it, and how to watch it. Brought to us by our friends at Fanatiz, fntz.co/soccer down here. That link is important. Helps them, helps us, and helps you by adding more matches to everything you're already watching. With Fanatiz, you get all the BNs. And I mean all the BNs. You get all of that. You get Nuestra Tele, CDO, Teise, CDO, CDO2 for the fans. You get to TVV, you get Libertadores, Sudamericana. I was watching Primera B yesterday out of Colombia. You get all of that. And once again, more leagues out of South America all in one place. You get all the BNs, which mean you get the Polish league, which is chaos right now. And if you were watching last night on soccer over there, you just know how chaotic it is. When Legia Warsaw is fighting for relegation and top to bottom, it is just jammed. You could have a good month and you go from bottom to top. One subscription, one home, fntz.co/soccer down here. Now, what to watch? We mentioned USA and Chile. On the plus, Bundesliga doubleheader or Bundesliga 2 matches available at $2.20. Paramount Plus, League One, Huddersfield, Luton, Lincoln City, Bradford City, and Doncaster Rovers are up at 3 o'clock. So 2 at 2:45, 1 at 3. League 2, Notts County, Swindon, Salford City, Chesterfield, both of those at 2:45. Coppa Italia, Fiorentina, and Como, that's at 3 o'clock. TBS once again tonight, simulcast Universo, simulcast HBO Max, simulcast on Peacock. And that's the rundown of everything. Tomorrow, obviously, with it being match day last in Champions League, we're going to go over all of the juice boxes. Everything starts at 3 o'clock. 12 matches at 3 o'clock tomorrow. But today, mainly USWNT, League One, League Two, Coppa Italia, Paramount Plus, and the Bundesliga is on the 4 letters plus. Once again, at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. So that's what you're looking at today in the what to watch section. So with all of that, now let's get into the news. Hour and 22 minutes in after going in depth on all of the things. So Emily Sams, Emma Sears, Emma Hayes, you're all looking at what it's going to look like tonight. Harder Stadium, it is sold out, which is really cool. Paraguay, the 6-0 win. We had Bart Kaylor on the show yesterday to break that all down. Now, we do have some other things that have gone on in and around the planet. We mentioned Gotham. Gotham, once again, reigning CONCACAF W champ, reigning NWSL champ. You've got them taking on Corinthians in the FIFA W Champions Cup. So Gotham is overseas, and we are obviously efforting the interview with Jordan Dudley with our friends at Gotham. And so it is going to be interesting to see how Gotham competes on the global stage. And with that one coming up, it is no, it's not a tournament. I'm looking at, come on now. I'm looking at the W Champions Cup. Here we go. Okay. So tomorrow, once again, 7:30 and 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So tomorrow, FIFA Women's Champions Cup. It is Gotham and Corinthians. It is Arsenal and Asfar out of Morocco. 7:30 and 1. Both of those are going to be available on FIFA Plus. And then on the February 1st, on the weekend, that's when you're going to have your third place match and the championship match. Those are going to be both at Arsenal Stadium. So we'll keep an eye on that tomorrow. But Gotham overseas and competing in this tournament. So Juan Carlos Amoros, hunger they have to win is unbelievable. It's in their nature. And a U.S. team bolstered by Jordan Dudley. Now, Gotham goes up against Brazil's Serie A 1 winners in Corinthians. Arsenal faces Moroccan Women's Championship Titans Asfar in the 4-team competition. $3.9 million total prize pool on the line. That's big. $3.9 million total prize pool. Winners take home $2.3 million. Runners up net $1 million. Third place team gets $200,000. $100,000 already sent to the clubs eliminated in the play-in round. So just by walking in the door, the teams that lose tomorrow get another $200,000 thrown into the coffers. But if you were to win this thing, you go home. This is like Skins game. Remember on Thanksgiving weekend, you'd have the 4 golfers out at PGA West out in Palm Springs, and it would be like $15,000 a hole, 25, and then $50,000 a hole. You walk in the door, you're walking away with $200,000. You make it to the title game, you're getting at least $1 million. You win this, it's $2.3 million for the winner of this tournament. Once again, both of those are on DAZN, and so we will see what happens with this tournament once again tomorrow morning. So when we come on the air, we will know what it's going to be like, and we'll hear from Gotham tomorrow going into this matchup. So we'll catch up with Gotham, and we'll find out what's on their mind tomorrow, heading into the matchup. What they were thinking going into said matchup. If I could get that to work out right. So 7:30 in the morning. Maybe no, we don't want to. Well, after 9:30, maybe we can turn some highlights or something like that. But we'll first little bit, we'll probably catch up with Gotham and find out what they were thinking heading in. We'll see if what they were thinking was true to form, as they're going to take on Corinthians, Gotham and Corinthians, Arsenal and Asfar. And so that is tomorrow, and then we'll keep an eye on that and let you know what's going on. So 7:30 in the morning, get up bright and early, and it's Gotham and Corinthians tomorrow. So reigning Copa Libertadores Femenina champs captured the title for a 6th time overall, 3rd straight year in 25, claimed the Serie A championship, their 6th straight domestic title. First time Gotham plays a Brazilian club in a competitive match. So definitely keeping an eye out for that. Actually, tell you what, why don't we let me see if I can do a little magic here. Hang on just a second. We do have MLS news this morning. Austin has exercised a contract buyout on Jador Obregon. And so this is one of their oopsies. And so literally no longer going to occupy a senior and international roster spot. Previous wages will not count against the club's 2026 salary budget. And so that's the buyout of a guaranteed deal. The roster is now down to 25 in Austin. Loss and Stuver in net, 10 defenders, John Bell, Guillermo Biro, Mikael Dessler, Mateja Djordjevic, John Gallagher, Brendan Hines-Ike, Jean Kolmanich, Joseph Rosales, Shvatok, and Riley Thomas. Midfield, Burton, Dubersarski, Danny Pereira, Sabovic, Ilie, Irvin Torres, Owen Wolf. Your forwards and wingers, Fodry, Jaden Nelson, Robert Taylor, Facundo Torres, who was a big pickup for them, $9.5 million in transfer, Mirto Uzuni, and Brandon Vasquez. So you have Facundo Torres, Mirto Uzuni, Brandon Vasquez up top, Robert Taylor to help out Jaden Nelson as a part of that as well. So intrigued with Austin as they continue going forward. So let me see if I can take the assets here and find out, well, where was it? Where is, oh, here it is. Okay. So let me see if I can, let's see, pre-match. And so what I'm doing is I'm literally, all right, so nothing pre-match presser and mix zone yet. So keep an eye out for that and game notes and post-match assets. Okay, so nothing was loaded. Okay, I thought something might have been loaded in the mix zone, but nothing has been loaded yet. So when it gets loaded, we'll probably play it in the morning just to get you ready for things. So what, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time on DAZN, Gotham and Corinthians, and the third place match will be at Arsenal Stadium, and the first 2 matches at Brentford Stadium. So we were getting into this last night, and as a part of the discussion, we were trying to determine where the NWSL is in the world footprint. So women's soccer power rankings, and it was, when it comes to the leagues in and of themselves, and I don't know what the definition of it's not college soccer, but so it was with the global numbers, and I've got to find it now, of course, since I didn't bookmark the page. Okay, so global football rankings, and I don't know what their math is. So let me see if I can find out how they come up with their numbers. So global football rankings and math. Let me see. Okay, so global football rankings, and if I do math, if I do it that way. So the comprehensive way of doing it, browsing by category and leagues and things. Okay, great, fine. I need to know how you put it together. That's what I wanted. I want to know how you put it together. What's your methodology? Okay, so methodology, according to Global Football Rankings, and once again, this is a very, very tight 1 and 2 when it comes to the NWSL and the WSL. So modified ELO-based rating system specifically for football, rather than simply rewarding wins and losses, evaluates how teams perform relative to expectations, adjusting ratings after every match based on opponent's strength, match importance, and context. They also evaluate the strength of the domestic leagues, and that was what I was trying to get into. Modified ELO system is a chess-inspired rating system adapted for football, evaluating performance relative to expectations, 0 to 100 scale, team ratings contextualized with competitive strength, unified framework combining team, league, country, and continental performance. So now, getting into the women's competition, and what I wanted to do was look at the women's soccer element in this for Global Football Rankings. And so, with the women's game, and it was, where is it? Leagues. No, I don't want leagues. I don't want international. Here we go. Women's leagues. Now, women's leagues. NWSL and the WSL, they're neck and neck in the numbers. They are in the numbers. They literally are 0.4 of a ratings point separate. And I think that if you look at it, and this is the discussion that we started with Bart Kaylor, top to bottom, I think if you go middle and bottom of NWSL and WSL, I think it goes to the NWSL. I think it does. I think that when you get to the top of the WSL, that's when you're looking at the standings there in the Barclays Women's Super League. So, Manchester City, Chelsea, Arsenal. I think they all just kind of throw that. Literally, they will throw money at the issue. They will create super teams, and they will do what they're looking for. Manchester United may be number 4 on the outside. And just to give you an idea, it's a 12-team league, Barclays Women's Super League. 12-team league, and if you go to the bottom of that league, Leicester, Everton, West Ham, Liverpool, compared to the bottom of the NWSL, I think it's the NWSL. Then if you go London City, Aston Villa, Brighton, Spurs, and compare that to the NWSL, I think that goes to the NWSL also. But it's those top 3. I think it's the top 3 that we're staring at that is where the difference is, and it's slightly to the advantage of the WSL. If you go 14 teams, so if we say Chicago, Bay, Utah, Angel City, if we divide it into 5s, so Houston, Chicago, Bay, Utah, Angel City, Houston, I think over the 4 at the bottom of the WSL, I think it's the NWSL. Courage, and this is how league finish. This is the league finish. You go Courage, Gotham, Racing, San Diego, Seattle versus the middle of the Women's Super League, the over in England. I think that goes to the NWSL. Then you get into Kansas City, Washington, Portland, Orlando against the big 3 in England. This is where, to me, I think it's really close. City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United. You compare City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United to the NWSL's current Spirit, Thorns, and Pride. It's close. You look at the rosters. Let's say look at the rosters for Manchester City. Squad for Manchester City. This is what you're looking at. Greenwood, Cody Thomas, Gracie Pryor, Wienrolter from Austria, Jade Rose, Lazelle, Rebecca Knock, Sasha Lewis. Midfield, Oyama Oldroyd, Grace Clinton, Laura Coombs, Laura Blind-Killy Brown, Sydney Lohman, and Hasagawa. Forwards, Fujino, Benet, Carolyn, Bunny Shaw, Lauren Hemp, Lily Murphy. And then you get into, and then you have a Vivian Miedema as well. And then Millie Burden and Shiksa Bekova from Russia. So that's what you're looking at for Manchester City. Just looking at rosters. So then you go to Chelsea's roster. What does Chelsea do? Chelsea right now with their squad, Hannah Hampton, Rebecca Spencer in net. Defenders, Brooke Aspen, Elle Carpenter, Khadijah Buchanan, Lucy Bronze, Millie Bright, Naomi Girma, Naum Charles, Cuthbert, Kira Walsh, Lexi Potter, Orlane Jean-Francois, Mika Kaptein, Aggie Beaver Jones, Alyssa Thompson, Kat Macario, Wrighton, Cunard, Lauren James, Hamano, Myra Alber, Mayra Ramirez, and then you have Sam Kerr and Sandy Baltimore. So Chelsea, we know where Chelsea's coming from in this. Then Arsenal. You look at their group. In net, Daphne Van Domselaar. Defense, Emily Fox, Jenna Neiswanger, Katie McCabe, Katie Reed, Leah Williamson, Ladiva Ben-Moy, Steph Catley. Midfield, Kim Little, Kira Cooney-Cross, Caldente. Forwards, Alessia Russo, Beth Mead, Caitlin Ford, Chloe Kelly, Olivia Smith, Stina Blackstenius. So that's where Arsenal's coming from. You compare that bunch, those three. I kind of left Spurs out for a second. Current, Spirit, Thorns, and Pride to the top four in England. It's close. A healthy Current, a healthy Spirit with Trinity Rodman. Portland with Sophia Turner. Pride with Marta leading the way and Barbara Bonda. It's close. Very close in that run. Liga Femenine in Spain is 3, but it is a gulf. It is 5 points according to the GFR, the Global Football Rankings. Premier League in France is at 4, and it is another couple of points. Serie A Feminine in Italy's 5, Frauen Bundesliga 6. Sweden and Norway 7 and 8. WSL 2. And this is what got me. The WSL 2, I think, is way higher regarded in the global football rankings than they should be. So you look at tables. Let me go to the WSL 2. Teams in the WSL 2, for those of you that don't know. Charlton Athletic, Birmingham City, Bristol City, Palace, Newcastle, Forest, Southampton, Sunderland, Sheffield United, Durham, Portsmouth, and Ipswich. That grouping is regarded in the global football rankings as the 9th best league in the world, ahead of the Brasileiro Feminine in Brazil, ahead of Liga MX Femenil. And then you get into Japan and such from there. Japan listed in 13th. Primera Federación is in 14th. Eredivisie is 15. A-League 16. And so on and so on and so on. The USL Super League, by the way, is listed at 21. And they're just barely on the books as a league. But Liga MX Femenil, I think, is being undersold at 11. WSL 2, I think, is oversold at 9. So I think you could flip them easily and sit there and go and be a little happier with the rankings. But right now, NWSL, WSL, neck and neck according to global football rankings at 1 and 2. 0.4 of a point separating the NWSL and the WSL. And it comes to the level of competition. So that's what you're getting with Gotham going over and being in the FIFA Cup tomorrow in the Final Four there. Winning CONCACAF W. All of these things to take into consideration. 0.4 of a point according to global football rankings. So that is gonna be. I think it's going to be a lot of back and forth in that. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth in that particular rundown when you're looking at those groups. Quickly, let me get you into training camp just a little bit. And FC Dallas, they are in like 2-a-days. They had the one match against Brøndby where they won 2-1. And someone that you might remember, a gentleman by the name of Bartosz Slisz, scored for Brøndby in that match. Then FC Dallas came around and then won 5-2 in the nightcap. Nicholas Simmons, the number 3 overall pick in the Super Draft, got his first goal on the board. Ibiaga, Johansson, Logan Farrington had a brace. Nicholas Simmons, 5 on the board for FC Dallas in their nightcap. And they rotated out. Literally, they had a starting 11 first half, and then they swapped out the second half. Here's Eric Quill after match number 2 of the day-night doubleheader against Brøndby, courtesy of our friends at FCD.
I think we were. I mean, look, I think there should have been a lot more goals in the first half. We had some really good football that led to some big chances that we just didn't put away. So proud of the second half goals. Some really good moments that guys capitalized on. I thought we were really aggressive and front-footed to get those chances. The types of goals they were very, very good. And then when it went 3-0, I thought we lost our discipline a bit. We got some young players out there that sometimes when you get up 3-0, it's that fight. You have to fight yourself and staying disciplined and how you go forward. So, but really proud of the collective effort and our moments in front of goal, and a lot of good defending moments as well. So it's another good stepping stone for us.
Over the course of the 2 games so far, you've tried players in different positions, different groupings in midfield and the back line. What is going into your thinking in those lineup decisions at this point in preseason?
Relationships. We try to. Football's about relationships, and this is the time to try those relationships and make them grow, and see what works and see what doesn't. Because once the first game comes out, you got to be ready. There's no more tinkering, so you got to know who you are. So this is the time to make sure we're trying different things. Different tactics, putting profiles in different areas to see what may work. So I like what we're trying right now. There's been some really good moments, and so it's just, again, we want to have the biggest base of information that we have, for week 1. But I really like what we've tried so far and executed on.
A few days left here at camp in Portugal and one more game against Real Salt Lake. What are you hoping to see from the group over these last few days?
Just keep growing in our collective, right? I don't want to give up 2 goals in a game. We're too good to give up those 2 goals tonight. We brought those on ourselves. So we've been really talking about our defending and making sure we're stingy, and it's a group. It's a group collective going forward, going back behind the ball. And so I really want to see a full performance against Salt Lake, so we feel like we're leaving this trip a better version of ourselves.
Perfect. Thank you.
Eric Quill, the head coach at FC Dallas, they're over in Portugal, and they won the day-night doubleheader that they had against Brøndby. So we'll keep an eye on all of that that we have. We'll keep an eye on training camps and such. And let me see, this morning I was trying also to see if anything was going to be coming out of Inter Miami's camp, and it does not appear that is come out of Inter Miami's camp at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on that. Dane St. Clair was set to speak this morning, so we'll keep an eye on all of that. All right, gossip, rumor, and innuendo, we'll let you know what the deals that have been done, we'll let you know what's on the board, and to get you off and running here on a Tuesday. Tomorrow, once again, Chad Emerson from Huntsville City Football Club. He's going to join us, and we'll break down everything there as Hunt City is getting ready for anything and everything in MLS Next Pro. They've had some turnover in the offseason as well. We'll ask about that. We'll ask about Joe Davis Stadium. We'll find out what it's been like to have that facility grow. And if you've been up there recently, you saw the development about the whole live, work, play thing. You've got hotels that are going up in and around stadium and all that kind of stuff. And Joe Davis also being used for more than just Huntsville City Football Club. It's becoming a hub for a couple of different things. You're seeing high school football there. You're seeing all-star games. And all of that. So we'll catch up with Chad tomorrow to get the update on everything with Huntsville City Football Club. All right, here's what we know, and here's what we think we know when it comes to transfers and such. Remember, you've got a handful of days left in this window, so if you're going to boogie, you better boogie now. Forest have made the £35 million bid for Jean-Philippe Mateta. Crystal Palace wants 40, and they're only going to let him leave if that price is met, and they can bring in a replacement. Everton's Beto, one of the options for Juve, considering as they look to bring in a striker during the winter transfer window. That's from Gazzetta dello Sport. Also, Juve are interested in Chiesa and Joshua Zirkzee from Liverpool and Manchester United, respectively. Randall Colomawani on a season-long loan at Spurs from PSG and is another option for Juve that they have asked about. That's from Fabrizio Romano. Bruno Fernandes set to wait until the end of the season before deciding on his future, and his current deal runs until 27 with the option for 28. Atletico Madrid set to hold talks with Atalanta in signing Ederson from the Italian side. That's from AS in Spain. Everton have rejected an offer from Lazio for midfielder Tim Araegbanam. That's from Corriere dello Sport. Newcastle's Jamal Lascelles has been told he can leave the club if the right deal is found. Wolves have rejected basically a £7 million offer from Roma for 23-year-old left-back David Muller-Wolf. Russell Martin is among the candidates to take over at Leicester after the sacking of Marty Cifuentes. Gary Rowett and Derek McInnes also being considered. Rowett and McGuinness were put forth by the four-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Birmingham City have joined Coventry and Sheffield United to try and sign Brentford midfielder Frank Onyeka. Bees are asking around £8 million for that one. And you have other lower-level deals that were on the board from the gossip section of things. Transfers as we know them today. Names and franchises and such. Okay, so Christos Mandas, loan is official. Lazio to Bournemouth. Jeremy Sarmiento, he is going to Middlesbrough. That is now official. Middlesbrough comes in and gazumps the deal that was being sought with other clubs. Middlesbrough comes in, and so he will go in with Jones joining with an option to buy. Dan Neal, we talked about that one. Sunderland to Ipswich, struggling for minutes in the Premier League. He wants to join Ipswich as they are trying to chase promotion, and we'll see what happens there. Milan Juric to Cremonese, 35-year-old 6'6" striker, gets to join Jamie Vardy up top. Mikhail Goti, midfielder to Cordoba from Real Sociedad, 13 goals in the third tier last year, gets more experience in the Segunda. Musa Diarra goes from Alaves to Anderlecht on loan. Ima Rondic from Cologne to a second-tier team. Ryan to Bournemouth. That is now official. £24.7 million from Vasco da Gama to Bournemouth. 19-year-old signs a contract through 30 and 20 goals, 57 appearances in 2025. And Agustin Albarracin from Boston River to Cagliari. And they're looking for the Youth International to do good things there to the tune of £1.8 million. Late yesterday, Joao Pedro goes from Corinthians to Torino. €1.5 million euro fee, obligation to buy for another 4.5 if he has 10 appearances. We mentioned Gisa Alau yesterday, the 17-year-old from Sheffield Wednesday for £500,000, performance-related payments and a significant sell-on, and that is something that Sheffield Wednesday needed because they need money. We mentioned Guido Rodriguez yesterday. It was on a free from West Ham to Valencia, and so 18 months after his exit from Real Betis, goes from West Ham to Valencia. Tammy Abraham, £11.2 million, Roma to Besiktas. And so Besiktas has the obligation to buy. They kicked that in, and now they open the door for a move to Aston Villa. So Abraham gets bought by Besiktas from Roma. They kick in the buy option, and so they're possibly looking to slide him to Villa for more than that. Fer Lopez to Celta de Vigo on loan. Paris Magoma from Brentford to Norwich for an undisclosed fee. Let's see. Dro Fernandez is officially official. The 18-year-old goes from Barca to PSG for £7.1 million. The teenager's exit, according to Joan Laporta, is unpleasant. It's unpleasant, as he says. Sid Lowe at The Guardian. Dro, who joined at 14, first team debut in September, turned 18 15 days ago. And so he arrived on the medical, one of the outstanding players in his generation, and reps appeared to agree to a new contract due to be signed after his birthday, but then he informs Hansi Flick of his decision to depart the same week. €6 million buyout clause. PSG understood to have agreed to a fee over 8 as a gesture of goodwill at the end of the process that got Barcelona mad. The subject was raised with Flick during the pre-match presser before Barca played Real Sociedad a week ago. Didn't want to talk about it until the deal was done. But just having been informed of the player's decision, he let it show anyway. Quote, put a lot of effort in the young players and helping them improve, but there are a lot of people around them. Beat. There are footballers who are 17 or 18, but who have people who make decisions. I don't want to say more, end quote. Hansi Flick had promoted Dro to the first team squad, handed him his debut at 17, few opportunities, 148 minutes in 5 matches. And so Luis Enrique would be playing in a 4-3-3. That suits Dro apparently more than the 4-2-3-1. And so he's hoping to get more minutes there. Quoting Laporta from Catalan Radio, it's an unpleasant situation. We had agreed a new situation for Dro when he turned 18. Surprisingly, his agent informed us he couldn't fulfill what had been agreed. So folks are pretty pissed. And so that's that you have one of the younger talents going in the window. Dro Fernandez to PSG for €8 million, 7.1 million pounds. So you have that going on this morning as well. Looking at the women's side when it comes to transfers, just a couple today, 2 undisclosed fees, one to Marseille, one to Nuremberg. Catherine Müller-Kuhl goes from Roma to Atletico Madrid for an undisclosed fee. All change. She signs on until 29. Same week, the manager, Victor Martin, got sacked. So keep an eye on that. Kaylor Ronan, the U.S. defender, goes to a free agent situation from Werder Bremen. Unsatisfactory for both sides due to limited playing time. So Werder Bremen does Ronan a solid, and she is now a free agent. Alicia Lehmann, a couple of days ago, goes from Como to Leicester City. So she says it feels like a homecoming after 2 years in Italy. The Swiss international signing the deal there. So that is your rundown of everything with player transfers and such. A couple of other things that kind of came across the bow this morning, and it is having to do with owners. We mentioned Alexandra Pato yesterday, and how Pato is literally tied to a group that might be taking over a team in the 3rd tier in England that has really been in dire need of ownership stability since like September, October. Now we go to Preston North End. And Preston North End, for those that currently do not have the English and the EFL tables completely and totally memorized, the EFL table in the championship, Preston North End 9th. And once again, the reminder just how crazy things are in the championship. Literally, you could have a great week, and you could be where Wrexham is right now. Wrexham 6th. You have the league group, and I always kind of do this like the Tour de France. You have the 2 leaders, Coventry City and Middlesbrough. They've already played their 29th match. They're ahead of the group. Your chase group, Ipswich, who is 3rd at 50 points, had a 4-match win streak snap the other day. Then Hull City is at 50, but they're well behind on goal difference. Millwall's at 49. They've won 3 of 4. So then that's the chase group. Then you have the second group behind Millwall, and this is 6 through 14, say. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll start there. 6 through 14. So that's 9 teams separated by 6 points. Preston North End's right in the middle of that. They're 9th at 43. But they're worst on goal difference, and that's why they're 9th. They have been in a world of hurt when it comes to needing ownership. They've won 2 of their last 5. Had a 3-game losing streak, 2 in a row wins. So they're up and down. Middle of the table, 9th place, 43 points. Wrexham at 44. Bristol City, Watford, Preston North End, all at 43. Goal difference is your separator. Stoke and Derby County at 42. Goal difference is your separator. QPR is 12th at 40. Birmingham City, Tom Brady's group, 39 points, 13th. Leicester's at 38, 14th. Southampton, 37, 15th. Swansea, 16th at 36. Sheffield United, 35 at 17. Norwich out of the relegation zone at the moment. They've won 4 of 5. They're at 33 points. Charlton Athletic at 32. West Brom with George Campbell, a goal behind and 32 points. Portsmouth, Blackburn Rovers, Oxford United, Sheffield Wednesday. So you've got a lot of chasing going on with 2 distinct groups, basically 6 to 14 and 15 to 22. It's chaos. But Preston North End has been needing solid ownership for a while. Deep talks over a sale to Amr Zidane a U.S. Saudi investor and racehorse owner, once the initial bidders for Chelsea after Roman Abramovich was sanctioned 4 years ago. Sky reported last week Zidane has been in discussions with the board since December over investing in the club, yet to sign an exclusivity agreement. Been on the market for 2 years in an investment process run by Rothschild, club owned by the Hemmings family, who've been funding annual losses of around £15 million, which they regard as unsustainable in the long term. That is true. Club initially marketed around the £35 million mark. Economic outlook in central Lancashire and rising losses have scared investors away. A cut price deal had been discussed with previous suitors per FootBiz for 15. Basically, it looks like the family is just ready to go and get. And so they're keeping an eye on that. U.S. Open Cup kicks off their 32-game first round coming up. We now know who's going where and when. First round is March 17th. So 6 weeks away. And now you know who's doing what. First round schedules, times, and venues. And you're going to see a lot with Paramount Plus going forward. 17th, Tormenta is going to lead it all off. Tormenta and America CFL Spurs, Richmond Kickers and Nova FC, Rhode Island FC and CD Fialenze, Vermont Green and P-Hop. That's going to be a fun one. March 17th, Paramount Plus, Vermont Green and Portland Hearts of Pine at Virtue Field. Keep an eye on that one. Detroit City, Michigan Rangers, Steel City and Riverhounds, Westchester and Loudon, Switchbacks and Azteca, Indy 11 Des Moines Menace. That's a sneaky one in Westfield, Indiana. Chattanooga FC and Kalanji Pro Profile at Finley Stadium, 6 o'clock, March 18th. Asheville City and Greenville, Triumph, 6:30 at UNC Asheville. That's going to be a good one. Lou City, Southern Indiana, FC Motown, Hartford Athletic. One Knox is in there on the 18th. Little Rock Rangers, FC Tulsa on the 18th. New Mexico United on the 18th. Sacramento and El Fadelito. Keep an eye on that one. That's an interesting first-round matchup on the 18th. Ventura County Fusion, Spokane Velocity, Orange County Laguna United. Carolina Core, Virginia Dream, Charlotte Independence is on the 19th. Lex SC and Flower Union. Westchester and Renegades, Tennessee Tempo and Chattanooga Red Wolves in Murfreesboro, and Laredo Heat and El Paso Locomotive. So those are up, around, and out in the first round. 17th, 18th, and 19th. And obviously, as we get closer to those, we'll keep an eye on that. But that news just came out on U.S. Soccer's, all of their bolos that they put out. Live on U.S. Soccer's YouTube channel, matches not airing on CBS. All 32 matchups stream live. CBS Sports is coming back. And so you end up with, on CBS Sports, Vermont Green and Portland Hearts of Pine, Motown and Hartford Athletic. Golasso Network is going to have Indy 11 Des Moines Menace, and BOHFS St. Louis taking on Union Omaha on the 18th. Third year in a row, Open Cup first-round matches are pro versus amateur. And so obviously come that grouping. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. 32-game first round, amateur versus pro, and that is coming up 17, 18, and 19 with the look there. All right, so let me check and see if I have missed anything from the morning. Let's check in with our friends Ben Jacobs and Tom Bogert when it comes to any and all of the above. So let's see how busy Ben has been this morning. I don't think Ben has been all that particularly busy, to be perfectly honest with you. So Wolves in talks with Marseille over a straight loan for Angel Gomes. Nothing agreed yet with Marseille. Bournemouth's new signing, Ryan, has a release clause in the contract as high as €100 million. Kicks in for his second season at the club. So that's the confidence that Bournemouth have in signing Ryan. 24.7 plus 5.6, no sell-on, 5.5-year deal. Edu Burgos first to say. So 30.3 million pounds total, 24.7 up front, 5.6 in add-ons. Adama Traore currently formalizing a move to West Ham from Fulham. Nuno is behind that one, trying to get him some playing time and get him a place where he can win. Douglas Luiz has now agreed to join Aston Villa on loan. Forest were prepared to let Luis return to Juve to facilitate a deal following an ankle injury to Yuri Tielemans, who was expected to face an extended spell out. Chelsea also considered him, but it looks like it is now Luis and Aston Villa on the loan deal. Brighton told Nottingham Forest Lewis Dunk is not for sale, and keeping an eye on others. The obligation clause for Middlesbrough, £5 million pounds, including add-ons. Loan with an obligation to buy. We mentioned Jean-Philippe Mateta and Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace. Wolves want $40 million to sell now. So we'll keep an eye on that future. Christos Mondas, we mentioned that. Another option to buy becomes an obligation, €18.5 million. Besiktas made an approach to Liverpool to loan Kostas Tsimikas. Not a move the players open to. Roma made it clear that they won't sanction an exit without a replacement. Wants to return to Liverpool if he leaves Roma. Fulham in advanced talks with Ricardo Pepi. Once again, we're at £28 million. Not far off of PSV's evaluation. How much longer can PSV play chicken? That's the big question there. Flamengo have reached an agreement in principle with West Ham for Lucas Paquetá, pending only final details. Formalizing payment terms. Paquetá expected to leave this winter if it all goes according to plan. West Ham in talks with Spurs over a loan move over Antonin Kinski. West Ham open to a move, including an option to buy. Fermin Lopez has a new contract extension at Barca, keeping him at the club until 2031. 2-year extension as the contract currently ran through 2029. Now, let's take a peek domestically and see if there's anything that we might have missed there. Once again, checking Tommy Scoops and the signings. We'd mentioned Sila yesterday, heading to NYC. And we also mentioned last night the Alex Freeman move with Orlando City. That's probably the biggest piece. Villarreal agreed to sign him. Deal worth north of $4 million US, $3 million in add-ons and a sell-on. Set to leave for a free when the contract expired at the end of the year. So Orlando City doing a piece of business there with Alex Freeman. Liverpool keeper Fabian Morozic set for a loan move to FC Cincinnati with an option to buy. James Pearce and Tom Bogert on that one. It coming to compete for the backup spot behind Roman Celentano. Poland Youth International deal includes a purchase option. Toulouse submitted a bid around $2 million in add-ons for Jason Russell-Rowe. Rowe was 9+2 in about 2,000 minutes last year, and he does want to go to Europe, so keep an eye on that one. Espanyol and Celta de Vigo, strong interest in Diego Luna. Unlikely before the end of the January window, as RSL don't want to lose Luna now. They're expecting offers in the summer, so anticipate business to pick up for Diego Luna come then. So you look at what's going on there. Latest on Josh Sargent, Toronto FC is still pushing. 18 million was the number on the board. Sargent still training with the U21s. Optimism that a deal can be struck is in Toronto. Keep an eye on it over the next little bit. So we mentioned Alex Freeman on the outbound. Jason Russell-Rowe on the outbound. RSL's Xavier Gozo, according to The Athletic, player to watch, outbound. 18-year-old big clubs monitoring. And we also mentioned Diego Luna. Liel Abada looking to leave Charlotte. A few championship clubs have kicked the tires. Could strike a deal, but nothing is final yet. So keep an eye on that when it comes to the future of Liel Abada. We're monitoring LAG and St. Louis City SC. Cash trade around $2 million for Joao Klaus is what is being looked at. And once again, that was 2 days ago, was the last that was coming to go down the pike. But we don't have anything official. If that does get officially official, we have reached out to our friends at Ball Watching, and we'll see what the St. Louis point of view is when and if, or probably more when you end up with Joao Klaus heading out the door in St. Louis, what it means to St. Louis, and where they go from here. How are they going to replace that offense? That's probably the biggest question going forward. I'm trying to see if there's anything else out here quickly. Tom Bogert, James Pierce, Laurel Faylor. They are now all three in line to go with that. The announcement that we were talking about there. Let's see. Nothing there. All of the U.S. Open Club matchups are now on the board. And I'm trying to see if we've missed anything before. Esther Gonzalez is not going to participate in the FIFA Women's Champions Cup because she is on parental leave. So keep an eye on that one for early tomorrow morning. And I think we have officially caught up. So it's another busy day on a bunch of different fronts. When we had the breaking news involving Atlanta United, you're sitting there thinking, okay, so Atlanta United adds another midfielder, and they do exactly that. Then the USL comes out with USL Premier, and we go down the USL rabbit hole. Once again, we have reached out to the league to try and see if we can get someone to discuss what is going on with USL, what their thought pattern is, level of success rating, markets, market size, all that stuff. So we'll get into all of that. And like I said, we're efforting. Cal Jennings, if we can figure out how to put a phone number into a request form for Ryukyu Okinawa, and we'll try and track him down once again. Chad Emerson is a part of the show tomorrow from Huntsville City. So that is another go-round of SDH AM. Thanks for putting up with the chaos, as you always do. Moving stories mean we go in a bunch of different directions. So for Kaylor Hodges, remember tonight, the USL show up and running. Go and follow them on all their social medias and the YouTubes and all the things. You can watch what's going on with them. We'll keep an eye on the situation there, and we'll find out what's going on in and around the league. MLS Next Pro tomorrow. Training camps, USWNT, all the highlights, all the posts, all the things. Huntsville City. Thanks to all of you for being a part of all the chaos once again. Wall Pass Wednesday is tomorrow. Since it is the end of the show, that means I get to do this back at it again tomorrow morning, 9:05 Eastern Time. Much Plati, I'll play it safe. We'll catch up with you later.